Good morning. It's the day after the full moon, the lunar eclipse, and wow, did you see the moon last night? It had uh, the moon right here, and then Venus was just right here next to it. It's clear, clear and beautiful. And I'm hoping you got a chance to see it, and I'm hoping that the skies are clear tonight and there might still be a little activity like that. So today I'm going to do some playful, sort of fun weaving of Venus, of the tree of life, the Sephiras, and of parenting, and how we get in these relationship loops and how to break them. So I'm going to tie it all together. So might start out kind of weird, but stick with it and let's see what happens. Okay. So the first thing is that Venus represents our heart, right? All that we hold inside of us. It's our relationships. It's how we love. It's how we put energy, the energy we have in our body towards love, towards others. Makes sense, right? And Venus was right there next to that moon. Venus is also, if you were to take the tree of life with the 10 Sephiras, and the Sephiras are energy centers built into our human energy system, that Venus represents the emotions and the energy and how it enters into our body through the Sephira called Netzach. So it's usually located over your left hip. So if you have issues with your left hip, there's a good chance that you get some emotions, some relationships, some old past pains going on, right? I can attest to that. So it also is how all of our emotional perspectives, behaviors, all of our energy comes into our human energy system and flows. So it's how we treat experiences, how we adapt to them. So if that is the Sephira where we bring all of this stuff in, it's just interesting to know. The other thing is that there are these, how do I say this? We have a linear experience, right? You know, I was born here, I went to elementary school, I went to middle school, I went to high school, I college, 20s, marriage, children, relationships that worked, relationships that didn't work, and I'm in my 60s, so I got a lot of those. Some of you are just starting out, right? But I got a lot of those old bones rattling around in my closet, right? And what we do is, as humans, we move linearly through life. We say, 60 years ago or 50 years ago or 30 years ago, this is when I was in my childhood. This is when, and so we build our emotional perspectives based on our past. We look back and we say, this is who I am. And then we traject ourselves forward emotionally, intellectually, energetically to plan our future, right? We are linear beings, yet we also don't adhere to the linear components, which is that if we stay very strictly on this linear path, we don't give ourselves a chance to break it apart and expand and grow. Yet, what I've noticed is that when certain emotions or feelings or histories of relationships, the way we love, the way we've been hurt, the way we were parented, the way we gave our all to somebody, right? Is that we will jump back into that timeline and remember that. Right? So we're moving along with and then some thought or feeling comes up, and then we jump back and we're back into that period, right? We go back. So yes, we are linear. And as we are moving through, all we have to do is bring up, in my case, divorce, or I used to be a mother of young children, or I had this job that really hurt me, or, and I go back into it and all of a sudden I'm there. So it's not really linear. It's sort of like we're in this loop. So we have a linear line, and then we have this loop of where we can go back in time and we can experience all physically, emotionally experience the things that we remember. We relive it. We actually go there, right? So let's make this really, really basic, because I want to bring parenting into this. Because as we birth children and as we raise them both with the I love this about my childhood. I want my child to have these experiences. And I didn't like these things about my childhood. And I want to redirect or do anything but that with my children, right? So we are conjuring up, we are pulling up memories at all times of who we were in our childhood. How could we not? If your child is going through Halloween for the first time, or you remember how important Halloween has been to you, right? Then every Halloween you go into these memories. It makes sense, right? So we're both having a memory and we're jumping out of our present parenting to go back and have this memory. So it's an interesting concept that here we are moving along, and then something will come up and we will hold in our human body where we are right now, but we will jump back and relive and stay in the emotions of that memory. So when we are hearing things like let go of the past, put it down, walk away, I have, I've always struggled with what does that actually mean? What can I do and why is it so important? And I'm wondering if this concept of the way that we loop back is what happens, because it takes us energetically to another time. So our kids are observing us, they're feeling us as we're jumping timelines. We're there, but we're not there. We're there, but our voice becomes silky and we're thinking, oh, when I was a little kid, this is what we did. And we're not present. And so parenting is both the activation of the past and the ability to create presence with your child and navigate towards the future. Yet if we are looping back, then we are not present to our children where they are right now. And what I notice is that sometimes those memories can bring up pains. They can bring up anger or frustration. They can bring up clinginess. They can bring up attachment. Oh, I just love this. And expectations and all of these things that, the kid's looking at you like you were totally fine a half an hour ago and now you're all, what's going on, Mom? And you notice that as they get older, they start to call you out on it a lot more. That's why the 12, 13, 14, 15 years are so challenging for us as parents, is because our kids are going like, what the hell, Mom? What are you doing? And we're like, stop it. I don't know what you're talking about, because we're not aware that we're jumping and we're looping, right? It's like we're like a walking, living, breathing carnival show of the past coming into the present, and our emotions and our energies all over the place when that emotion is happy or sad or angry or controlling or whatever. We're gone. We are presenting what our avatar, our human body, as we're there, but our mind, our emotions, our entire experience is somewhere in the past. And so we have layers and we have protection and we're not really there, right? So when we jump back, we leave our body in the present, yet we're navigating it from some other place, and we can't be totally there and totally authentic. Does this make sense to you? I have been so excited about playing with this throughout the weekend, which is how often am I actually in my body, right? So if you don't know that we do this, if I don't know that I'm doing this, then I don't know how to adjust and correct and get out of it, right? But knowing how to do this is the most important thing. So what I noticed is that between the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse, so that would be October 14th through October 28th, is 2 full weeks where there were a lot of emotions, a lot of energetic like walls and ups and downs, and there were visions and dreams. And for me personally, as a double Pisces, I was emotionally all over the place. I wouldn't say it was a mess. I would say I was all over the place, because all of this energy information has been informing me. And that's what I wanted to bring to you today and talk about, which is how do we align to our present energy when all of this looping and everything is going on. So I have 6 tips for you. and stick with this because I think it's pretty cool. And if you want some help with this, I decided over the weekend also that I really love doing this through tarot readings, because tarot brings it out in a way that it's not you telling me what's going on, and me coaching you. It is us discovering what the cards have to say, and it brings the same information out. So I'm doing both individual coaching and tarot reading, half an hour sessions. So message me if this is something that you want some assistance with, and we can look at some of these loops and what's actually going on, right? Okay, so tip number 1 is assess where you are, where you really are. Am I here? Where are my feet? Are they on the ground? Can I feel my body? Can I feel my senses? Am I actually all the way in my body? This is a great way to bring yourself into your body, into embodiment. So the first thing is to assess, ooh, where am I? Am I in 1968 when we moved to San Jose? Am I in 2004, first year after a divorce? Like, where am I really? Because I don't think I'm here right now, right? That's the first thing. I don't think I'm here, and where am I? Or what's going on? Are my feet on the ground? Number 2, once you've discovered that you've shifted or that you're in an old place or an old story in the past, thank it and leave. Drop it. Drop it. Oh, this is where I am. I don't really want to be here. I just need to get back to Denise in Whitefish, October 29th, and be completely in my body while I'm doing this video, right? So it's kind of like when we have the car with the destination, like reconfiguring, or it's like take another right, get you back on course, right? So we're adjusting and we're adapting and we're getting back to the point of where we wanted to be before we disconnected and jumped out into someplace in the past, right? So once you discover, number 2, once you discovered it, just drop it and get out. I'm on the wrong street. I got to get 2 streets over and head over there. It's just that simple. You just drop it. Number 3, have a sense of humor about it. Oh, good grief. I went back into this history, and there are sections of the highway I don't even remember driving, conversations I don't remember hearing, and you go like, wow, I really wasn't there for a bit, right? So you discover where you've drifted into the past. So you be soft, you be firm. Oh yeah, no, we're going this way. And so that's that sort of strong, compassionate human, which says, it's a sense of humor. I drifted. Boy, I got a little far off that time, right? And kind of laugh like I jumped back there so fast. I heard that song, and next thing you know, this is where I was. So you use sense of humor. You use that sort of softness that's like, okay, this is where I am, and this is just what happened, right? And number 4, when you leave the past, you need to thank it and let it go. There's no need to go back there. So the way that I think about it is like, there may be a coffee shop or a restaurant that I tried, someone told me about, and I went there and I was like, oh no, not doing that one again. And there's no judgment really. It's just like, no, it didn't suit me. I don't want to do that. And you never go back. And someone says, hey, do you want to go back there? You're like, no, let's go someplace else. That's what we do with the past, is that we sort of put it down, like someplace we don't care to revisit, or we no longer desire or need. This is what we're talking about when we say let it go. There's no need to take your body up and out and go back 20 years, 10 years, 2 weeks to the past to revisit it, because it takes you away from the present where you are right now. So you just let it go. So when all this Frozen movies and everything are talking about let it go, it's like, get out of being stuck in those old pains, right? Number 5. Resist. This is a big one for me. I'm a historian. Resist. Look, what you're reading, what you're watching on television, on what you're streaming, what movies are you paying attention to? Do you like to go back and watch 80 movies because it makes you feel really good, or do you like to watch, like what is it that you actually keep doing to yourself when you're going back? So be careful, because where you find comfort is where your past wounds are. So like, start to edit. How often am I living in, the the Pride and Prejudice, or the Wild West, or the World War II stuff, and go like, why am I going back there? Let's just get up here to the present, right? And then number 6 is the one that I'm always going to use every single time, which is have compassion. This is not an easy journey. We have to, first of all, detect that we actually did a timeline jump into the past. And then we have to catch it and be kind about it, and then redirect it, and then get back to present. So this is going to take some time, and it's going to take some compassion to yourself and to others, which is, you can tell when somebody's not in their body. You can tell when they are not present, when they're back in reliving the past. So compassion at all times. So be kind to yourself, have fun playing with this, and I will see you next week. Take care.